live from Palm Beach, Florida, where the President of the United States is presently flying to, right?
Right. And we actually, we were trying to figure out what exact
we were
time.
going to try to go see if we could cover him, but I think it's right in the middle of the show. When did he leave Washington D.C.?
Let's see on the public schedule.
I'm not going to announce when he's going to get in. I just want to know.
No, we're only going to what's on the public schedule. We would never release.
Yeah, God forbid.
He's arriving
right
at 8:25. So you were right during the show.
Okay, so maybe we can
rush over. Maybe we'll see if we can see the plane come in. He leaves Joint Base Andrews at 6:30 and he gets in at 8:25. So that's that's less than 2 hours.
The
plane must go faster than
necessarily. The plane would not usually pass here. The airport is about Mar-a-Lago's about a mile and a little plus away from where we are right now. The airport's probably about 8 miles away. Would you say?
Yeah.
And about 6 miles. The golf course is about 8 miles.
Yeah, we had to measure it. The fake news, I think I read once, they claimed that you were almost 3 miles from Mar-a-Lago.
Oh.
But that was one of the fake news outlets, so you never want to take that.
We'll go check it. I thought I checked it once, and it was about a mile.
Yeah, 3 seems long. 1 mile maybe seems short. Okay. But 3 seems long. But these same news outlets said
I can figure it out before the show's over.
You're right.
But I'm not going to tell you how. So last night, Alina Habba office was attacked. She was attacked. How many Trump people are going to get attacked? How many Biden people were attacked? None. Right? I mean, they probably had protection from the Ukrainian, you know what I'm talking about.
Tough guy.
Yeah. We don't have any such protection. We're even putting mafia guys in jail with only $2 million gambling operations.
Right.
I still have a hard time not believing that. Right. That's Alina right there. And I talked to her earlier today.
Yes.
And she was at the time pretty shook up when it happened. And it was rather strange the way it happened. This guy showed up at the U.S. Attorney's office. The U.S. Attorney's office is in a general building shared with other, I don't know if it's government enterprises or maybe even private enterprises,
right,
but shared with other organizations. And the guy showed up originally with a bat. I think they said a bat, right?
Right.
I wonder if it was a baseball bat. I have a certain thing about baseball bats.
Right.
Sort of a 4 out of 5 chance I can figure out a little bit about the guy doing if it's a baseball bat. But in any event, he showed up with a baseball bat, and they didn't let him come in with the baseball bat. But they let him come in later by himself, and he came in and he trashed her office and pushed her around, I think.
Right.
And then he ran away, and they're searching for him.
Yeah.
It seems. And I remember the office because I asked her, is it the same office that Chris Christie was in when he was U.S. attorney? And it was a long time ago, but I do remember the office. I didn't think I was not really aware of the fact when I was in the office. I can't tell you if there were commercial operations or other government operations. Like, for example, the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York is its own building. And next to it is the prison that Epstein died in. They're connected. There's one is on one side of a long block, and the other is on the other side of a long block, which is in back of the main courthouse. And now a new courthouse has been built there too. So it's a complex of the old courthouse that goes back 110, 120 years, which is gorgeous, used for many, many movies. And there are 2 courts right next to each other. The New York Supreme Court, which is a Greco-Roman building, not all that high, maybe 8 stories high, but the building could be in Rome or Greece. The U.S. Attorney's Office has a Greco-Roman front, but it's a very high building. In those days, probably when it was built, well, probably not. No, it would have been a skyscraper then. The building is about 30 stories high. I remember I worked on the 22nd floor
Have we been in that?
when I was a law clerk. No. I've been on the 22nd floor. I worked on the 22nd for 2 years. And I worked on the 3rd and 4th floor of the building because when I was an assistant U.S. attorney, the U.S. attorney's office was in the courthouse. And then they built a new U.S. attorney's office in prison. And that's why I say I watched that prison get built, because it was being built when my office was being built. My office, our office was being built. And the U.S. Attorney's Office, one of the big objections about the U.S. attorneys had about moving out of the courthouse, and the judges wanted the space, was we don't want to go through the street and carry our stuff through the street to go to court. We have a lot of sensitive witnesses.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to put these mafia guys on the street and we're getting boop, 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 boop. So they built towers. The tower from if you go out of the U.S. Attorney's Office, you can go out the main entrance, or you can go through a tunnel to the prison, or you can go through, and this was not built by Hamas, and you can go through a tunnel to the courthouse. And it was really funny. In the morning, there's a big rush. You'll see all the assistant U.S. attorneys rush into the courthouse, and they use shopping carts.
Yeah.
Particularly if it's a little trial, they'll just hold us. But if it's a big trial, they got all their exhibits and shopping carts. It looks like they're going to buy groceries, but they're not. They're going to put bad guys in jail or collect money owed to the federal government, because it's criminal. U.S. Attorney's Office, unlike a DA's office, is a civil and criminal office. So the United States Attorney represents the United States government in that district. So you have a federal district court, and you have, for every federal district court, a United States attorney and his assistants or her assistants, and the United States marshal and his assistants and her assistants. All of the U.S. attorneys, all of the marshals are appointed by the president with a very tremendous amount of input from the Justice Department. Because once they're appointed, they don't work directly for the president. They work, although appointed by the president, and they can only be fired by the president, they work for the Attorney General. So that's what Alina is. And of course, there's a big dispute about her and about the U.S. attorney appointed in the prosecution of the complete fraudster, the Attorney General Tish. Oh my God!
Right.
It looks like she's running a criminal house there, a primary residence, which wasn't her primary residence, which it sounds like she may never have lived in. Had 13 police calls in the 2 years or 3 years that she's been the primary resident there.
Right.
Now, when the police showed up, she was never there, but there are a lot of criminals there. What is the Attorney General doing renting to criminals? Well, she's really not an Attorney General. She's a complete political criminal. So the New Jersey case, we'll see what happens. The Haba case, let's hope they catch the person who did it. And we're not going to say anything about who or what is the person's inclination or why do they do it. But it was Wednesday night. He was barred from entry. He later returned, went out the back. Security officer allowed him in. He went up to Haba's office and began shouting incoherently and destroying property. That's the story.
Right.
You explain to me how they let him in the second time around. I can't be deceptive at all. Eric Swalwell should be prosecuted for many, many things. And it is unfortunate that it's going to be mortgage fraud. But mortgage fraud on the part of these holier-than-thou sanctimonious bastards is perfectly appropriate. Tish runs around the state running for attorney general, and the brainwashed knee-jerk Democrat voters in the state vote for her. And she wasn't going to reduce crime, and she wasn't going to collect money for the state, and she wasn't going to help people running out of the state because the justice system is for shit here or there. No. She was going to get Donald Trump. She didn't know on what. She didn't have a crime in mind, but she promised she was going to get him. She should, instead of going after me, the Bar Association should have gone after her. They accused me of all kinds of wrongdoing. I denied it, and I believe, if given a fair trial, would have proved without any doubt that I didn't do it, and that the things they even charged me weren't even crimes. They violated my rights as an attorney and my rights to free speech.
Right.
But in any event, she ran for office. I'm going to get Donald Trump. First of all, I don't know why the people in New York elected her. But how do they elect a communist? Maybe that's why I'm living here in Florida now. And why the hell didn't the Bar Association proceed against her to disbar her? Because they wouldn't. Because the Bar Association is controlled by the crooked Democrats. Because the Bar Association gave me a hearing that's about as crooked as the trials of Donald Trump, if not worse. And they selected an ex-judge who was completely crooked out of the Brooklyn machine. Let me get disbarred based on a record in which there's a 30 to 40 minute gap in the operative video, and right at the crucial time of the allegations of wrongdoing that I was talking about. There's a gap on the tape, like it's not there anymore. Somebody had deliberately taken it out. As far as we can tell, the chain of custody is either Rafsenberg, who wants to be the governor of Georgia, God forbid.
Right.
You might as well just sell Georgia. He's gonna sell it. And then it could be the person that does the prosecuting for the Bar Association. If you talk about Trump derangement syndrome, he was completely deranged with regard to me, and interpreted everything as far as he could against me, and also engaged in highly unethical behavior. If they should clear me, there should be a Bar Association proceeding for him. Plus, he never gave an explanation of the doctored tape. He said he didn't know about it. If he didn't know about it, how did he prepare for the hearing?
Right.
I mean, the whole thing should have been thrown out over that. That's about as irregular as you can get, as crooked as you can get. And somebody should have investigated, because it could have had consequences way beyond my case.
Yes.
It could be that Rafsenberger gave that tape out to a lot of people to clear a certain number of people who were implicated in criminal wrongdoing. Well, Eric Swalwell bought a $1.2 million home in Washington, D.C., and he claimed it was his primary residence, except he represents California in Congress, and he also votes there. And so could it be that he did that because it led to, here's what they say. Now, these are the allegations. There's no indictment yet. But this is the allegations. Bought a $1.2 million home in Washington, D.C., claimed it was a primary residence, and he was able to secure millions of dollars worth of loans and refinancing based on the primary residence in the District of Columbia.
Bless you.
Well, that's called cheating.
Yeah.
But this guy lied so many times. As part of this, somebody should ask him, when he was, how should we put this nicely, having an affair with Fang Fang. Fang Fang was a Chinese spy, a female spy. He was on the intelligence committee. Catch this. And I can't remember how long she was with him, but he didn't know that she was a spy. They finally found out she was a spy, and she ran away to China. And that's why every once in a while he's called Fang, fang, swallow well.
Right.
No, he is around Congress. They call him Fang, fang, swallow well.
Hey, we don't.
We'll call on Fang, fang, swallow well. Oh, I'm sorry. But you realize how crooked the Attorney General and people in the Justice Department under Biden were? Never investigating the breach of national security. Okay, how about Feinstein? 19 years she had a Chinese driver. And right now on trial in the Eastern District of New York is someone who was a high-ranking official for Hochul and Cuomo in their office, and actually specific acts that she performed, like getting them to not meet with Taiwan, getting them to change statements that would be favorable to China, for which she got millions. And her husband did.
Yeah.
You think the problem of a communist infiltration of the Democratic Party is much bigger than we think? And that the press covers it up? I don't think it. I know it. What about Tampon Tim? Tampon Tim got out of college. First thing he did is go on a Harvard program that they paid for to China. He stayed there for a year and a half. He fell in love with China and a Chinese woman. He then jilted the Chinese woman, came back to the United States. And for the next 30 years, he was getting paid money by China. He's getting paid money to do programs in China. He went there to teach, but he'd bring with him 50 kids, 60 kids. And China would pay for all that. And he and his wife ran 2 different businesses that did that. Now you've got to be really stupid not to figure out what that is. Process of deduction. First of all, China's not going to let you go teach there 2 times if you don't teach what they want them to teach.
Right.
They're sure as hell not going to bring you back 30 times. Well, there's a little dispute. 30 times, and then someone said 18 times. But nobody ever investigated. Even now, I mean, how about subpoenaing all the records?
Yeah.
How about finding out who was paying him while he was in Congress? Was he getting money from an enemy of the United States while he was in Congress? Because we had a president who got $31 million. His family did from an enemy of the United States. This is absurd. We got to straighten ourselves out. And I do not understand why the president of the United States Attorney's Office doesn't investigate this.
Right.
This is not. This relates to the national security of the United States of America. These are high-ranking Chinese people. And in the case of they're trying the Eastern District of New York and Brooklyn, they're showing specific quid pro quos. I mean, I don't know if you can try Biden or whatever, but Biden did a very big quid pro quo for the 31 million that Hunter glommed from China. He gave up the Bagram Air Base, 400 miles from China, against the advice of his entire military staff, that then went ahead and kept their heads down while he betrayed the United States. And that's a betrayal of the United States. Right. Democratic staffers are proving, like Swalwell, they're proving why it has happened that since Biden came into office, starting with the unbelievable amounts of money that were put into the bills that he passed to take care of, just to take care of COVID, and for the COVID period. That was the big battle here. They took health insurance and drove it out a crazy ballpark. People 500%, 800% above poverty line get Medicaid. People that are working are cheating like hell. They're taking Medicaid and not taking health insurance from their employer. That's like a really definable percentage of people. There are people that are dead that are getting it. There are people that are getting it multiple times. Then there are people that can work and have themselves on welfare, and they're making out better than people that are working. And there's where the communism comes in, right? Make them dependent. Make them dependent. Let's see if we can do the best we can to get the dependent population of America as high as we can get it. Under Biden, it became the highest in our history. Not working became fashionable. Not working and then cheating to fill in the rest of the money. You got a certain amount of welfare money, but then a little cheating, and these government programs were completely unaccountable. Like all the money we gave to Ukraine was unaccountable. Biden refused to put in accounting procedures. Well, you can see that this starts at a very early age among Democrats. I mean, Biden announced that he was unethical, a crook, and would have taken money the first time he ran for the Senate. but it wasn't available to him. I mean, that's because he's a jackass. We'll get the interview for you sometime. He was like a kid, and he said, "Well, I would have taken money, but I would have been involved in the fraud." When you heard that, you had to say, "Well, let's keep a close eye on him." You probably could have caught him in 3 months. He and his slimy brothers were selling the Senate office where they were even in there.
Right.
There were so many stories about them. Well, in any event, listen to this. This is so darn appropriate. It proves everything we've been saying about how they become communists and they move it on from generation to generation. Staff visit the Democrat National Committee. That's the place where the bomb was placed on January 5th, 2021. It looks like, I'm not saying it was, but it looks like from the videos that the police put it there. Could that possibly be that the Capitol Police put it there? Were those Capitol Police or DC Police in those cars?
Yeah, we'll have to
take a look. It's important. Take a look. But in any event, the Democrat National Committee, it's described as they're seething over the party's new directive that they show up for the office and work 5 days a week. They think they belong to the teachers union. You know, they can take a 2-month summer vacation. They can create holidays for every scoundrel that ever existed and work effectively like 8 months and about 4 hours a day, have assistants do most everything, and then become a bureaucrat real quick. So you have to be in the classroom because there are more bureaucrats than there are teachers. I used to describe the Board of Education, and the budget of the Board of Education is like absurd. It's absurd. It's crazy. And one of the things that people are saying, oh, Mondami is going to make early education even faster. You know why? Because he's a communist. Karl Marx, Engels, Stalin, and Hitler all believed that one of the most critical things in spreading socialism, remember Hitler was a socialist, one of the most effective things in spreading socialism is to get the kids at about 2 years old. So now they're down to 3 and 4. Take them away from the parents. There's a great quote. I hate to put it on TED right now, but there was somebody that was giving a lecture at one of the phony universities who said that a parent should have nothing to do with the education of the kids. It should be in the hands of experts, which is like saying, and this is another one of Marx's goals. Well, make a big list of those on one of the podcasts, and we'll show you how it's not by accident that we are where we are. One of the things you got to do if you want to create a totalitarian government, you got to get control of the kids and make them property of the state. Oh. This is precisely what they're talking about.
But
I picked this up with the teachers union the day I walked in as mayor. I also knew the history of the teachers union. It's a communist history.
This is this is in Michigan, Mayor.
Why do you think they're opposing? Why do you think they're opposing vouchers and choice in public education? They want choice to kill babies, but they want choice in education. Even Democrats Democrat people want it.
We have the video.
But the Democratic Party is not beholden to their people or their voters. They're beholden to the special interests that give them a fortune. So the Democratic staffers don't want to work.
Do not know best. Scientists know the best. So I'm sorry, parents do not know best. Scientists know the best. Experts know the best. So I strongly support the standard and to enable and empower all students to feel safe, educated, knowing who they are, and knowing that it's okay to be who they are.
Wow, this is in Michigan, Mayor. Great catch. This happened in Michigan last night.
The State Board of Education, throw the parents out, leave the experts in. I mean, he might as well use the real language, the apparatchiks, which is what they're called in a communist country. The apparatchiks run things. I mean, I have relatives and friends who grew up, in-law relatives who grew up in communist countries. And let them tell you about how they had no choice about what they were going to do, what they were going to be. Their parents, unless their parents were party members, and none of them were, had no input even. I think my kid has a great talent for scientists. Now, we've decided your kid's going to be a garbage cleaner. Or I think my kid would be a great something or else or whatever. No, we think he should do this or do that. Well, we have much better ability to perceive what they can do and what they can't do. After all, they're not important. You're not important. The state is the most important thing. Haven't the Democrats made the state the most important thing? Isn't that what they did with the close down of the government? They didn't make the people the most important thing. Even if you take them at their word, they did this because they wanted to show how expensive healthcare was, which is very nice of them to do that because they created why healthcare is so expensive.
Yeah.
It was really interesting that they did this. It didn't matter if they screwed, millions of people because they had to make their point. They couldn't just get on television and say it or use advertisement to say it. And like they're really telling us something that healthcare is too expensive. I mean, it's only gone up about 3-4 times since Obamacare. They're the reason why it's so expensive, both in the initial bill in which no Democrat supported it, the attempt to redo it by Trump, which John McCain voted against,
Right.
And was the key vote. My good friend, very, very disappointing vote. And then Biden took it and blew it completely out of the ballpark. He raised the amounts by ridiculous numbers. Medicaid is supposed to be for people who are poor, poverty. During the pandemic, it was 500% above the poverty line or 800% above the poverty line. That's what created the stories about how you could make more money not working than working. Well, the Democrats want that renewed. That's what the whole thing was about. They want that renewed. This isn't about, oh my God, poor people, legitimate poor people are going to be really hurt. The cuts that the Republicans are making are completely within the zone of cheating. If you did a fair analysis, and they know it, they're the ones doing the cheating. They're the ones bringing in their friends with kickbacks and the companies with kickbacks and making money. I mean, the Board of Education in New York is a cesspool. And as the money for children has gone up in just about every Democrat state, but just look at another one today, as the money has gone up 2 and 3 times, the scores have gone down 4 and 5 times.
Jeez.
And you can see why the Democratic staffers don't want to work. The union actually agreed that they would return to work and that there would be occasional situations in which they'd be allowed to work at home. That's not like you work 3 days a week and 2 at home. That's not occasional. So it completely violates the terms of the collective bargaining agreement. So now they're going back to the union and complaining. The union is sort of stuck with their pants down, with their communist red pants down. And they're saying they're considering their options. Now, they're going to negotiate this with the DNC. So they're going to cave, right? Well, they cave to us. Why wouldn't they cave to a union that owns it? They cave they cave completely to Trump. The Republican National Committee press secretary said, "This is hilarious. Is this a political committee or a daycare center?"
I love that.
What it is a group of communists. Why not for them too? And you can see that in Seattle. They elected a communist mayor, Katie Wilson. Now, Katie Wilson, I mean, Mondami is completely unqualified to be anything that requires real skill and hard work and management ability, because he's never done it, and he acts like a scatterbrained jackass. He's never really had a job. He embraces ideas that are only embraced if you live in some kind of a communist stratosphere. With a professor at Columbia who hates Jews, and He has inherited from dad a significant hatred of the Jewish people. Looks like he doesn't like America very much. His mother says he's not really an American. He's a Ugandan, and she's been describing him as a Ugandan up until the time that he ran for mayor. He's only been a citizen for 8 years. It didn't really grow up here. Is not in a family that has an awful lot of American tradition and background to give him.
Right.
And then he's a virulent Marxist. Public ownership of the means of production, grocery stores owned by the state, free buses, expanded free health care, get rid of all the billionaires. He doesn't like billionaires, wants to get rid of them. Somebody's got to tell him that they're the ones paying the bills, pal. That's how you get to take care of these 8.4 million people when you got about half of them not working and you're trying to get more of them not working. Even your Democratic National Committee operatives don't want to work.
Right.
How you can get people to work if you don't want to work? China is has a thing called the TP-Link Technologies Company. It's got affiliates all throughout the United States. Senator Ernst has pointed out that these are sold they're sold generally, but they're sold to a large extent to our military. Nothing stops this technology from spying on Americans by getting into the internet, particularly into internet cameras connected in their homes. And she has every reason to believe that they've been doing it for quite some time. They're TP-Link cameras. They're being sold to active duty personnel, military families, students of military schools. I mean, this is going on all over the place, buying the homes and the farms near our military bases, having the balloon go over and get a guided tour of our most sensitive facilities under the guy they bought, Joe Biden. You know, there's a lot of talk about Nazism and Hitler, and we're going to talk about that in a little while, because there's no way I'm escaping this, because I'm infuriated. But I just want to point out to that guy, what was the name of the guy that Tucker Carlson had on?
Fuentes.
No, not Fuentes. The other guy, the
professor. Yeah, I'll get that. Sorry, I'm working on
who wrote the book that Churchill was now, Churchill's my hero. You know, but Churchill's been my hero. If you know about me and you know about September 11, you will know the morning after September 11, or within a day or two, they asked me, "How are you getting through this? And what do you? It seems like you know how to run this. What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm really doing two things. I'm relying on the experience I got in Israel by going there for the bombings when Mayor Olmert would ask me to go. Like I met someone from Israel the other day who knew that I took the number 7 bus after the bombing, and I went there with the mayor, and all my staff was so worried they'd bomb it again, but they weren't, and I knew it. And I'm not trying to pretend I'm a hero. I'm just telling you, I used to do that stuff, so I was really into this. So before we get to Tucker Carlson and the danger of the right wing having too many haters of the Jewish people, anti-Semites, isolationists, to a degree in which it is dangerous for our national security, let me point out, forever it's worth. Now you figure out how this works in, okay? Right. There was a great article today that says that based on a genetic analysis of some blood they have from somebody who kept some garment of Hitler's, they now think there's a chance that he had some kind of illness. Let me forget the name of the illness. It has a name. I wish Dr. Maria were here, because she knows every illness. Well, the end result is they think he might have had what they call a micro penis.
Wow.
Now, it is true and absolutely verifiable that he only had one testicle. His testicle was taken off when he was young. But now they're saying that this genetic material, there's a high incidence of people having Kalman syndrome. It's called Kalman syndrome, which can thwart the development of sexual organs. The condition, which can also inhibit the normal progression of puberty, means Hitler had a 1 in 10 chance of having a micro penis. Well, the micro penis is defined as 2 inches or less. I'm sorry. Now, they did know during the war that he only had one testicle, and they did make fun of him for it. World War II, there was a World War II era song. We'll see if we can find it. We'll play it from Hitler has only got one ball.
I love that.
Isn't that great? Oh, and by the way, the guy who's doing this research says this is not an excuse. The liberals are now going to say this is an excuse for, this is why he did it. Because he only had one ball and a small little penis. Now, I saw an interview, and maybe it was taken out of context, because I really like him. I really like Tucker. Right. I saw an interview in which Tucker acted as if the Allies did something immoral by killing Hitler.
What?
And somebody today made the point, and that's all I know. I saw him say it.
Yeah.
Whoever was commenting on it also said he based this on like religious principles. And the guy who must be either a former priest or a priest candidate or somebody who went into pretty deep theology made a point that very few people would really know. There's a whole massive discussion by Thomas Aquinas and St. Augustine about 400 to 500 years apart about what's called the just war.
Okay.
Because the commandment says thou shalt not kill.
Right.
But what about in self-defense? Well, the answer is yes. It is morally justifiable. And at times it's immoral not to defend yourself in self-defense, or at least the people with you, right?
Right.
Because, you're supposed to protect life. So now a guy walks in, he has a gun, you have a gun, there are 3 kids there. What do you do? Oh, thou shalt not kill. I put the gun down, kill the kids. Yeah. What do you blow the guy's brains out? And even if he kills you, the kids are saved. Isn't that what you do? I don't have any doubt about it. I have any doubt that God would reward you for doing that. And I don't see any of the teachings of Jesus Christ or the Old Testament or the New Testament that says that you can't do that. This is not even an issue for the Islamics, because Muhammad wants them to kill, like crazy.
Right.
Wants them to kill Jews and Christians and get rid of them as a way of spreading the religion. He used to use it as an ad terrorem activity. Come into a town, round up 10 or 15 of the elderly Jews or Christians, and kill them.
Hey,
a couple of famous incidents like that. And
very well. Yeah.
And it used to be paintings of them, but now you're not allowed to show those paintings. Right. You show those paintings, put you in jail or something. In Europe, they'll put you in jail.
Right.
In America, they'll just take it away from you. They'll probably eventually put you in jail if we get enough Muslim mayors like they have in London. Well, I got to show them. I've got to show them. Have we taken a break?
We still have to take a break. I'm so focused on getting this video ready.
We're going to take a break. We'll get the video ready, and then I have something else to show you that's funny. Really, really, really funny. Okay.
We'll be right back.
Right back. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month.
Wow.
Including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news, even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax, channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly, where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep green, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans. No Robusto, all Arabica. They're gonna go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
You got to come back right now?
Oh,
I'm getting something ready for you.
Okay, let me talk.
You're going to like. So why don't you talk a little, Ted?
Okay.
Ted can
We'll talk a little. We'll put some videos on while you continue to work here.
So why don't you, what video are we getting ready? It's not ready yet?
Nope, it's okay. It's just edit on the.
Well, I got a couple of things that I can go through to get ready. So I got good news and bad news on homelessness. Want the bad news first or the good news first?
Let's do the good news.
The good news first is that the Trump administration is realizing it made a mistake in having a housing first program to try to help solve the problem of homelessness, because the problem only grew worse as a result of it. And the reason is because it pretends that the only cause of homelessness is the failure to have a home, when in fact, the main reason for homelessness is mental illness, drug addiction, in some cases, serious criminal personalities, which would get you close to mental illness, but more like distorted behavior, perverted behavior, which has to be dealt with. They're not much good taking some of these people who like murder, stuff, end up murdering and stuff like that, who are homeless, put them in a house. I mean, you're going to murder people in the house.
Right.
And sometimes the damage done by homelessness, particularly for paranoid schizophrenics who become worse and become violent from being isolated, has been too great for them just to be all by themselves in a home. So getting them a home is not the answer. So now they're going to shift the programs that mandate treatment for drug addiction and mentally ill, and impose work rules and impose therapy and of course, housing first. It's very worried that they're taking the money. People must feel settled in housing before they start sobriety treatment for mental illness. What? You know what that's for? These not-for-profits, they are for big profits. They're making a fortune. This is the main way in which the Democrats steal millions from you, through these not-for-profits. And the Democratic Party works for the not-for-profits, not for the people. The people of the Democratic Party want choice in education. They want vouchers. They want charter schools, anywhere from 65 to 80%. The not-for-profits, the teachers union, the communist think tanks, want the state to control everyone's education. So you would say, well, the party will obviously go with anywhere from 60 to 80% of their electorate, right? or at least a 65 to 80% of the party would be there. No, the party's more like 90-10 against it because they don't really give a damn about their constituents. They never have. Their constituents are indentured servants of the Democratic Party, either because of poverty or because of brainwashing. If you think the best way to get my kid educated is to get him the hell out of a public school and into a different kind of public school, a charter school or a private school or a religious school or homeschooling, you're being pushed around by what that guy said.
Right.
You don't know anything about the education of your children. You damn well do. You know a lot better than these teachers about the education of your children.
Right.
They know about subjects. These are not psychiatrists.
Right.
Public school teachers are not psychiatrists. They teach history or used to teach history. They teach math. They teach how you can doubt your gender, things like that. Or what's the best way to mutilate yourself? Right. Or I think they teach like you've got to accept the fact that if a 6'7" male wants to come on the basketball team and put a little dress on, he can come on and just stuff the ball down 100 times the game. Oh, and by the way, if he wants to be in the bathroom and let his penis stick out, and most of these guys that do not have penises like Hitler, no, he has the micro penis. They say, well, I don't really know. It's just a 1 in 10 chance.
We're just reporting.
I don't know. Tucker Carlson might really go after me for attacking Hitler.
Yeah,
because he was really upset that they murdered Hitler.
Yeah.
What's wrong with him, Ted?
There's something, I really.
Well, we're going to go into depth about this because this isn't personal anymore. Yeah. This is about the future of my party.
Right. But we're going to if you want to finish.
Can you get the quote out that I have from last night that we wanted about this, Ted? It was like the second or third cut about anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to play that before we go off.
We played it last night?
Yeah, we played it last night, but we didn't identify the minister, so I didn't put it out. I'm going to put it out tonight, but I wouldn't mind playing it. But let's finish this issue with Tucker.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson.
Sure.
Is that the video you're looking for?
Yeah.
Well,
we're still working on it, but we'll have it shortly.
Here's the real issue. Tucker Carlson a couple of weeks ago interviewed Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes is the head of one of these right-wing, I don't know what you call them. They call them, what does the left call them? Right-wing Nazi groups, right? And they're the ones who supposedly, attacked the Capitol on January 6th. You're going to find in the fullness of time that it was Antifa and some of law enforcement that really created it. And they're the ones who really created whatever you want to make of that attack. And that the people there, some of whom spent 2 and 3 years in jail, were pawns. Some of whom did, in fact, specifically and either technically or worse, violate the law. And many of whom were punished for not violating the law. And all were punished much more severely than whatever they did, where none of them did the kinds of things that routinely, happen in New York and people were let out without any bail. I mean, if some guy that's running around the Capitol and gets in a scuffle with a cop, well, of course he should be arrested for getting in a scuffle with a cop. But in New York, he'd be held on no bail, go out. I'd be shocked if he had no convictions, if he went to jail. I think he should. I think he should go to jail for 6 months, a year, if it's a first offense. If you hit a cop, if you just do trespass, first offense, that would put you in jail. If you had a military record, you otherwise were nice, a good person, and you were over excited about a political thing. I'd like to know what the hell they did. I mean, I look at typical Antifa, Black Lives Matter protest in these universities. Even at Columbia, they burned things down. There was no burning in the Capitol. There were no weapons used except by the cop who killed Ashley Babbitt.
Yep.
I think, and without an investigation, I think it's wide open that was first-degree murder.
Oh, yeah.
And I do think it's not wide open that they obstructed justice and let the guy get away with it.
Right.
And the people who let him get away with it should be prosecuted too, not just him. Now, he can be prosecuted because there's no statute of limitations on murder. And until the day I die, I will be pushing for the prosecution of Ashley Babbitt. And I was looking very carefully at the interview of the new district attorney, U.S. attorney in Washington, D.C. And I was very disappointed not to see a discussion of Ashley Babbitt. I mean, there are a lot of people that are disappointed at the lack of aggressiveness of the Justice Department, but I didn't think that would be true of the U.S. attorney in the District of Columbia. Now, I don't know, maybe she is investigating it, but she has an obligation to investigate it. And if she wants me to, I'll go sit down with her and I'll show her why it is a compelling prima facie case of first-degree murder. And if it isn't first-degree murder, it's certainly negligent homicide.
Mm-hmm.
He sure as hell shouldn't have gotten $100,000 or whatever he got, and been treated like a hero and promoted.
Right.
I'm not going to go into all the facts of it, but we will at some point. But
So we have Fuentes calling Hitler awesome.
go ahead.
You want to play that?
Yeah, whatever you got, play it.
We couldn't find the specific one we wanted, but here is
This
Nick
is-
Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes, who was interviewed by Tucker and given a very, very, very mild interview. A very mild interview.
Yeah.
As did the author, who said that Churchill was responsible for the
Let's play that,
Second
yeah.
World War, and also that Hitler was kind of mistreated, misunderstood.
Now, here's that. We have that ready to go.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, he didn't kill the most people. He didn't commit the most atrocities. But I believe, and I think when you really get into it and tell the story right and don't leave anything out, you see that he was primarily responsible for that war becoming what it did, becoming something other than an invasion of Poland. You know, Germany, look, they put themselves into a position, and Adolf Hitler is chiefly responsible for this, but his whole regime is responsible for it, that when they went into the East in 1941, they launched a war where they were completely unprepared to deal with the millions and millions of prisoners of war, of local political prisoners and so forth, that they were going to have to handle. They went in with no plan for that. And they just threw these people into camps, and millions of people ended up dead there. You know, you have like letters as early as July, August 1941 from commandants of these makeshift camps that they're setting up for these millions of people who are surrendering or people they're rounding up. And so it's 2 months after, a month or two after Barbarossa was launched. And they're writing back to the high command in Berlin saying, we can't feed these people. We don't have the food to feed these people. And one of them actually says, rather than wait for them all to slowly starve this winter, wouldn't it be more humane to just finish them off quickly now?
That
was a historian, I think, that way.
Yeah, that was according to Tucker Carlson, one of the greatest historians of the 20th century. Now, I'm going to tell you, the guy is a sick bum, not a great historian. Churchill is really more responsible for the spread of the war than Hitler. The reason for the Holocaust is because the Germans got in over their head by attacking Russia, and therefore they had to kill the prisoners. Now, he conducted that interview, and he didn't challenge him at all. Now, I happen to have handled 2 extraditions of Nazi prison commandants. Total 32,000 Jewish people they killed. About almost an equal number of Orthodox Christians. Because Hitler's primary targets when he went into Poland, Czechoslovakia, then Yugoslavia, Latvia, Lithuania, they didn't all have large Jewish populations. Poland had the biggest. Some of the others did too. A lot of in the Czech, what was formerly Czechoslovakia, now the Czech Republic and surrounding states, and in Yugoslavia less so, but there were Jewish people there too. If you go to the museum in Yad Vashem, you'll see these unbelievable numbers number of Jewish people before the war,
Mhm.
number of Jewish people after the war. In Poland, they're almost all dead or gone. The main concentration camps were placed outside of Germany on purpose so that the German people wouldn't necessarily know about it. Now, you want to make that argument, you've got some historical support for, you got a lot of historical evidence against it, but you're not going to be completely irresponsible if you say that. And you also have to factor in the capacity of the human mind to rationalize, if they're not evil, right? To rationalize, but you also have to factor in the evil. So one of these two guys that I prosecuted, his lawyer defended him on the grounds that he didn't kill 22,000 people. How about this? He killed less, but he was exaggerating so he could become a member of the SS. The SS was ripped out of the German police and the German army. They were not the German army, but they were superior to the German army. They were Hitler's murderers. And the SS ran the concentration camps, not the army. The army ran the prisoner of war camps, which this historian, jackass, has confused.
Mm-hmm.
What the Russian situation produced, or should have produced, are people for the prisoner of war camps. That's where the Americans went, who were captured, and the British. Those camps were pretty bad, but not much worse than a lot of others, and not nearly as bad as the Japanese camps. The figures, and please, this is a long time ago, and I may be slightly off, but the number of casualties in the Japanese camps was like 40%. Number of casualties in the German camps, this is of soldiers, was 8% or 10%, which shows you the Germans, if they wanted to, knew how to conduct it. But the casualties in the concentration camps were, wipe them all out. I mean, they probably killed 80% of the people in the concentration camp, particularly at the end. And of course, they use gas chambers.
Among soldiers,
these are animals who do that. Animals do that. Animals. You're justifying it, you son of a bitch. And Tucker, you're sitting there and letting them do that. You're letting them do that. That garbage. And well, they had too many. They were cut. Yeah, but the only Russians that ended up in the concentration camps, my friends, were the Jewish Russians or some of the Russian Orthodox. Here was the thinking, if you want to know it, right? The Jewish hatred was a little bit maniacal. It goes back to early Hitler. I mean, Hitler was anti-Semitic and hated Jews back when he was putting together the Third Reich. And they were Kristallnacht, and they were torturing Jews back then at a certain level. They didn't do the concentration camps until around the war, or when the war was already ongoing, because they didn't know what to do with the Jews. And they felt that when they established this Third Reich, they wanted all the Jews gone. It was called the final solution. They wanted all Jewish people eliminated. So that's how and then they decided to put them in Poland and Czech Republic, and they had some, I think, up around Latvia and Lithuania, Estonia maybe. And then they started the liquidation. And then when they started to think they're going to lose the war, and they didn't want to waste any more resources on it, they started killing them, hundreds and hundreds and thousands, sometimes a day. It was so bad that the commandants would assist. One of the two guys that I prosecuted, there was evidence from witnesses that he assisted in the murder. He helped because it was getting near the end, and the reason he exaggerated the number of people he killed was so he could promote it. So when I say that some people rationalize, there are also people that knew about it clearly. Then there are people who took advantage of it and used it a lot. So what the hell is Tucker Carlson giving this guy a microphone?
Mm-hmm.
I believe in free speech.
right?
Free speech doesn't mean that I will go listen to every horrible human being that exists that wants to say to me things that are sinful, horrible, disgusting, ridiculously wrong. I'm not an idiot. I'm a well-educated person, and you're not going to give me a lecture on how Hitler just accidentally killed all these people because he bit off more than he could chew by attacking Russia. Jesus, I know the history of the Second World War a lot better than you do. Greatest historian of the 20th century, according to our friend. Now we get to Fuentes. What shall we play Fuentes? And there's a lot more. We just want to make sure that you understand we're not trying to mislead you. I don't want this battle, but I feel it is necessary to engage in it for the salvation of my party and my soul.
Didn't happen. And they were like, we did not raise you this way. I remember coming home from college and my second semester, I got home in the spring and I was like, Mom, Dad, Hitler was awesome. Hitler was right. And the Holocaust didn't happen. And my parents were like, we cannot believe what you are saying. We did not raise you like this. I'm like, I can't believe you're not being chill about this. I was like shocked because my parents aren't even that political. I mean, my parents are like vaguely conservative, like boomers are. And I thought they'd be down to fuck about it. I was like, yeah, guys, guess what? You're never going to believe what I discovered. And they were so not cool about it. They were pissed. They were like, we will not tolerate that in our house. I'm like, they got you too. They got to you too. I remember being like, and I fought with them for a long time about that. That's why I tell you don't red pill your parents, because I played that game. I was like, Mom, Dad, you don't think it's a little bit weird that we can't criticize Jews? You can talk about anything else, anybody else, any other event, but you talk about this one, it's...
Well, that's also just factually not true.
First of all, I'm
that's
Italian American. I just did a podcast on the mafia. I took down, I think I can say without too much contradiction, I probably did the most effective job in taking down the mafia. They didn't criticize Italian people for the mafia? Huh? Of course they did. Did I criticize the Italian people for the mafia? Yeah, the ones who participated in it, and then the ones who wouldn't stand up for it. A lot of Italians were like a lot of the Muslims are now. All the Muslims aren't extremists like Mondani, but they're going to protect Mondani when Mondani is with the imam who was an unindicted co-conspirator in murdering people and was a witness for another murder and justified September 11 and October 7. And Mondani will put his arm around him and say he's the most influential rabbi in New York. That's spreading Muslim extremism. And not enough Muslims stand up against it, just like not enough Italians were standing up against the mafia. There was an Italian-American Civil Rights League. The head of it was Joe Colombo, the head of the family that Michael was in. Joe Colombo was the head of the Italian-American Civil Rights League.
That's just amazing.
And then he was shot and paralyzed.
During the parade, right?
Right before the parade at the Columbus statue. And that was after he had done all of his damage. He even got the Justice Department to put in a proposition. It was Mario Biaggi that did it, Congressman Mario Biaggi, who was a big hero of the Italian-American community here in New York. Yours truly, with the help of my brilliant assistant U.S. attorneys, in particular Howard Wilson, prosecuted him and put him in jail. For years, everybody knew what he was. But Italians would glorify him. And many of us criticized the hell out of them for doing that. I've been trying to do this story for 3 days, but I'm going to kick the hell out of the Irish people right now. They just elected a communist in Ireland who hates America, who won't put in even 0.002% for the defense of Ireland, because Ireland gets their defense for free, which is why they can steal businesses from everybody, including the pharmaceutical businesses that they steal from us, because they have no taxes. We shouldn't tariff them? What are you, out of your mind? They're going to steal our businesses? Look, there are some things we probably efficiently can't do anymore. And I'm not a complete tariff person, and I'm not a complete open trader. I don't call it free trade. I'm a fair trader.
Yeah.
And I think I don't even think there's any doubt that that's the most logical economic solution in a capitalist country. Capitalist country doesn't mean there are no rules for trading. It means we should be trading in our best interest, but then we need protection against the connivers, the thieves, the crooks, the liars, and the insider traders like Pelosi. That's far different than we're not allowed to own anything, and the government decides everything. So Ireland has now elected a straight-out communist. You know, I mean, I was shocked when Ireland permitted abortion. I mean, I grew up in what I would consider the Irish Catholic Church. Most Italians in New York grew up in the Irish Catholic Church. In fact, in my little area of Brooklyn, there was a little Italian church, very tiny. I think it was St. Benedict's, and there was the big Irish church, St. Francis of Assisi. That's where I went to school. That's where I went to church.
Mm-hmm.
That's where my parents, Italian Americans, were married. It's a much more beautiful church, much bigger, had a school. St. Benedict's, I think it was St. Benedict's, didn't have a school. They eventually closed down. There were Polish parishes like that as well, because there was friction between the Irish, the Italians, and the Polish. A lot of it language, but, you know, who knows what else. So everybody's gotten criticized. You can criticize. Nobody's ever attacked me for criticizing the Italians. I don't understand this. I don't know where these guys developed that. Or the Jews own everything. Well, it'd be quite impossible given how little numbers there are of Jews. And I know enough Jews to disprove that aren't multimillionaires and billionaires and are just regular middle-class people. And there's even a Jewish poor. The Lower East Side. Even when I was mayor, there were a group of. There was still Jewish poverty, less, just like there was less Italian poverty. And as you'll see from my podcast, a lot of the defeat of the mafia is the moving on of the Italian American community to graduating from colleges and law schools and medical schools in much larger numbers than they used to. Now, I tell a story about my father too, who used to count them and was so disappointed there were so few. And then as soon as I started doing it, I started counting them and I started realizing, oh my goodness, look at all of these Italian names. And then you never know when you see an Irish name if they're not married to an Italian, like my two godchildren, right? They're Irish and Italian, but they have Irish names because my friend Peter Powers was Irish. I grew up 1/3 Italian, 1/3 Irish, and 1/3 Jewish. Those were all my friends. And then when I went to Brooklyn, Black and Hispanic.
Yeah, I mean, you're mayor of New York City. I mean, it's
but this is crazy. That's a sick kid, evil kid. What he said is not just sick. It isn't like ha 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 ha. That is evil. What he's talking about. And then, I mean, Tucker put him on him, basically put him on his lap, and was stroking his head. I mean, how about I mean, there you got? Hey, smart ass. The people the soldiers that Hitler took out of Russia went to a concentration camp, or they killed them. Also, Russia pulled out of the Western Front in order to bring 800,000-900,000 troops back for the Battle of the Bulge and surprise us. What are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about. That wasn't even the kid. That was the so-called historian.
right.
These aren't historians. These are guys that pull it out of their backside. And they become famous because they're sensational. And then people who are anti-Semitic and hate Jewish people glom on them. See what? A lie? Now, we've got to go. We're going to leave because we want to
we got to
Dr. Maria.
Yeah,
Shall we play the last thing? Can we show?
The last one I had was Tucker.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tucker and Fuentes or Tucker and Putin?
Tucker and Fuentes.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, you saw how evil he is. Now let's see how Tucker's treating him. Whatever happened to tough questioning?
Yeah, I'm trying to find the best. We had a few.
Just put it on now. We don't have much time. Just anything you can put on.
Okay.
Just so they see it. It's really more seeing his demeanor.
Right. Here we go.
You want to put somebody like this on, you got to cross-examine him if you're a moral person.
So, well, thank you.
See how nice this is?
I want to understand what you believe, and I want to give you a chance in a minute to just lay it out, not what you're pivoting against, which are a lot of the same thing. I agree with you on some of the things you're pivoting against for sure, but what do you affirmatively believe? So I just want to stand back and let you explain it. But first I want to understand how you got to where you are, how you became Nick Fuentes. So this is my understanding of your life arc.
Let's
tell me.
If I'm a libertarian or the electoral map, if only men vote, if only women vote, if only whites vote, if only non-whites vote. And it became very obvious what the electoral problem is. It's demographics. These immigrants are coming here. They're going to turn Texas blue like they turned California blue.
Yeah, I saw it happen.
Yeah, and you look at even the opinion polls. These people don't believe in free speech. They don't believe in the Constitution, the Second Amendment. As a libertarian, the things that are, and as American, with the left, because the left could say you're Islamophobic.
Right.
That isn't the part that we want. We're going to mislead people. Putting that on. I mean, yeah, okay. The part that I want, and we've run out of time, so I'm very disappointed that we didn't have
What part? Yeah, I mean,
come on, Ted. We played it before.
Okay, well, I'll find it from the previous show.
The part that I want is the part where he says we have to be a Christian America.
We played it before.
There's nothing in the Constitution of the United States that says that we should be a Christian America. There is in the Constitution of the United States a subtext, and a very powerful one, that our founding fathers were unanimous in the fact that our rights under the Bill of Rights came from God, the Creator. And they don't say Christian God or Jewish God or anybody else's. They say the Creator, God. And there is no doubt there is two things in the Constitution that our enemies on the left have misused, but we sure as hell shouldn't misuse it. There's no power of any kind to establish a religion, a state religion. And people have to be protected in the free exercise of their religion. That means without imposing a religion, people should be able to do reasonable, normal things in public that demonstrate their religion, like a Christmas scene. That taking down a Christmas scene, it has nothing to do with establishing a religion. It has to do with interfering with my free exercise of religion. Taking down a Star of David is interfering with my right of free exercise of religion. Not teaching the Bible and the Ten Commandments in school is not teaching history, and is a obvious antagonism toward religion. There's no reason for our government to be antagonistic to religion.
Well,
but then on the other hand, you can't establish a religion. That is as clear as you're looking in my eyes. And that's where they come up with this Christian nationalism thing. And it's not completely, I wish I could say, like the things they do about Trump and the things they've done about me, that it's a complete lie. It isn't when you hear a guy like this.
Here he is on. This is when he talked about Mike Huckabee.
Oh yeah. Please
clip.
do that. Yes, Mike Huckabee is a very close friend of mine. I probably have endless respect for him. Go ahead, and then
Ted Cruz, and there are a lot like that. John Bolton. I mean, how do you explain Mike Huckabee, Ted Cruz? And there are a lot like that. John Bolton. I mean, I've known them all. George W. Bush, like Karl Rove. I mean, all people I know personally who I've seen like be seized by this brain virus, and they're not Jewish. Most of them are self-described Christians, and then the Christian Zionists who are, well, Christian Zionists. Like, what is that?
Right.
And I could just say for myself, I dislike them more than anybody, because like what? Because it's Christian heresy and I'm offended by that as a Christian. That's why. So I don't like, why not? Like, I'm pissed at the neocons, very pissed. I've said that a million times. I've been mad since December of 2003 when I went to Iraq. And so like I went and asked straightforward questions to Ted Cruz because that seemed like there's a sitting senator who's like serving for Israel by his own description. He seemed like a worthy target. I'm not going after MTG, who's like.
Well, we don't need Fuentes. We got the big guy. I mean, that's unbelievable. He hates Huckabee more than anybody. Huckabee was a Christian minister, the governor of Arkansas, a very, very fine one, a very honorable presidential candidate. I ran against him once and he became a very close friend. He's one of the most decent men that I know. He's one of the most learned, well-educated Christians that I know. Much better than that phony. The part of the reason he's saying that they're not Christian Zionists, of course they can be Christian Zionists. What is Zionism? Zionism is really simple. Zionism is a group that began probably in the mid-19th century because of the anti-Semitism throughout Europe, because of the pogroms in Eastern Europe. You know what a pogrom is? A pogrom is after the Good Friday Mass was finished in Poland or Czech Republic or Czechoslovakia or whatever. In some of the smaller towns in those places, the Christians, either Lutherans or Catholics or whatever, would run out and find Jews to beat up. And then it would be other days, but Good Friday would produce it. Usually the statement in I think it's the Gospel of Matthew, that their blood should be on you and your children, which was a statement I think made by Pilate. I don't think it was made by Jesus, but in any event, they took that to mean we should go beat up or kill Jews. They kind of missed the part where Jesus was Jewish, died Jewish. All of his apostles were Jewish. His mother and father, his earthly father, was Jewish. His father in heaven had used the Jewish people and made them the chosen people to give his message to the world. And yes, he had antagonism among the Jews, but that's where his supporters came from. His original religion was made up of Jews and Gentiles. And part of his expansion was to unite. When Jesus Christ died, Jesus Christ was a Jew. He was killed as a Jew, but one of the reasons he was killed as a Jew. And he was buried with the Jewish services, and then he rose from the dead. Christian Zionism is an agreement with the following thought, because this is what Zionism is, that the Jewish people deserve a homeland somewhere so that they don't get persecuted. They were being persecuted in Poland. They're being persecuted in England. They're being persecuted in France. They were being persecuted to some extent in Germany. Believe it or not, less in Germany. Of course, Germany then ended up doing horrible things, right. Terrible things. A lot of historians, really good historians, not phony assholes like this,
right,
question why Germany? There were economic circumstances that helped create it. And there probably was an underlying jealousy and hatred. And I mean, just the idea that Jews control everything. I mean, that's a sick, ignorant statement. As I said, there are by no means enough Jewish people to control everything. They do not control everything. Are they unusually successful as a group of people? You're damn right they are. But do they also have failures and great poverty and people in tremendous need? Yeah, a lot more than you think. And have other groups been unbelievably successful because circumstances pushed them? What about the Cuban people that came to America? A lot of people kiddingly say they're really Jews. Well, most of them are Roman Catholics. But they value this country in a way that, unfortunately, is becoming a thing of the past. Well, we're trying to stop that. And I am very angry and upset about this. And we don't have them. We'll take it up next week, and I'm going to devote a podcast to this. These guys don't speak for our party. He's never been elected to he's never been elected to a damn thing. Let's go back to William Buckley. When William Buckley ripped the anti-Semites apart. It is anti the theology of the Catholic religion to hate the Jews. It's anti the Catholic religion to hate anybody, but particularly the people who handed us our religion. For them, we have great respect. As Cardinal O'Connor taught me, probably better than anyone else. We'll tell you about Cardinal O'Connor in the future. Now, you go to Dr. Maria's podcast right now, and we are going to take off for the weekend, and you go on and subscribe, please. Please, I work really hard on that podcast, and I want to get your opinion of it, okay? It's really interesting. There are things in it. I'll send out a couple of little clips so you can look at the clips, and we'll see if we can entice you to go get the whole thing. And then next week, if we're fortunate, we're going to have a really surprise guest.
Right.
God bless America. It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given common